Hey everybody, QuestWise here, and this is going to be a really weird video. Um, it's not a video, the kind of videos I normally make, and you may never see another video like this. It's going to be very philosophical and maybe a little heavy, but I've been thinking about this a lot today, and something I just wanted to share with you, my community of gamers, of hobbyists, and it might be something that interests you. Maybe you've already engaged in this type of thing, or maybe you haven't, or you've thought about it, and it's just something that you haven't taken the first steps into. But um, this has been on my mind all day today, and it's been really, really weird. So I thought I would share with all of you exactly what I have been thinking about, and that is Gunpla, or Gundam plastic modeling, as a form of meditation. So why this has been in my mind a lot lately is that I find that this particular hobby, building these plastic models, let's back up a little bit. If you don't know what Gundam is, or Gunpla is simply a term used in Japan by the company Bandai to refer to the act of building plastic Gundam models which they produce. I am not a fan of anime. I'm not a fan of these shows. Not that they're bad, but they're just not my particular preferred form of entertainment. But I am really fascinated by the models themselves and the engineering behind the creation of these models that just fascinates me. And it's one of those hobbies that I stumbled upon, and I picked up a kit and put it together, and was just deeply satisfied by the experience of it, and almost in a meditative way, in that whenever I'm building a Gundam model, and it could be any model really, but the Gundam is the preferred ones that I like, or at least the Bandai kits, and I've done a few others. I'm actually working on another one right now, that's by a different company called Frame Arms. So it's not a Bandai kit, but it is, I want to say a knockoff, but a company that's making models very similar to that fact. When I do that particular thing, when I'm sitting down to create a model, to build, and it's not one of those processes that you can just do from start to finish. I mean, I guess you could. It would take a full day for some of these to do, but it's that process of sitting down and putting these things together, following the instructions, and cutting and building these models. And what's really fascinating to me about Gundam models is that there's no glue required. I've used glue on a few parts and pieces here and there, but when you're done with the project, you have a fully formed model that is fully posable, fully functionable. But I found that when I'm doing it, it's almost a meditative type state for me. I've never really been one much for meditation or deep prayer, but life gets stressful at times. Life can be overwhelming at times, and I found that when I'm doing this, it's just enough activity. It's just enough focus that I have to impart upon this task, that it sort of blocks out or lets me escape the stress in my life, or the busyness. It might not just be stress, it might just be the craziness of what's going on in the world, or in my life, or that particular day. But it's just one of those things that I found is very peaceful and very calming. But the amount of focus that you have to put into it is not overwhelming, but it is something that is enough that it sort of gives you this sort of clarity of what's happening at the time. And then when you're done with that particular session, you have this feeling of accomplishment, that you've created something from really nothing. So you might go from something that looks like this to something that looks like this, right? So it's that feeling of accomplishment, that you've accomplished something, that you've done something, you've created something from practically nothing. This is sometimes called a sprue, sometimes it's called a runner, but it is a plastic injection molded piece. And most of these, especially the Bandai kits, the Gundam kits, come in multicolored plastic. And to me, it's such a almost spiritual thing to go from this to something like this. I don't know. There's something about it. It's something I wanted to share with all of you. I think that maybe if you're having a lot of sort of like activity in your life, or you have a lot of stress in your life, and you need to sort of just take a minute or an hour or a few hours, whatever it is, to sort of break from that cycle, to just sort of clear your mind. But I found a lot of times when you talk about traditional, meditation or prayer, that your mind sort of focuses on everything that's happening around you, and it's hard to break or find a piece of clarity in all of it when that's all your mind wants to think about. And when you're building something like this, you have to have enough focus, enough attention paid to it, that you're doing it correctly, that it sort of pushes those things that are sort of impacting your life for a time, kind of pushes them to the side, because you're focusing on this. And I think that for me anyway, I get this joy out of creating something. I get this joy out of seeing something come from basically nothing into something unique and different. And so for me, Gunpla is a form of meditation. And many of you out there may have already experienced this hobby. You might be excited about this hobby. I'm growing steadily in this hobby. This kit that I'm working on here will literally be my maybe fourth model that I've put together, fourth kit. But I look forward to doing many, many more, and experiencing different levels of the hobby, and learning more about how this company, in particular Bandai, how it is that they have engineered these things to near perfection. And I'm just fascinated by the process of bringing it from this into something whole and unique. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you today. If you find that your life is sort of overwhelming, if your life, you need a bit of clarity and a bit of peace, try building a Gundam model. You can find them a lot of different places, like lots of like Michael's, Hobby Lobbies. I know that Target carries some of them. You can find them at most hobby and game stores. Heck, even maybe Walmart. I know Target in particular carries them. And it doesn't have to be an expensive hobby. They range anywhere from about $20 to, all the way up, if you wanted to go to some of the different higher graded ones, to like hundreds of dollars. But I believe that this one here, it's called a high grade, and you can do all the research on this for yourself, because it's a whole new world of stuff. But I believe this kit cost me $30, and this is what came out of it. Like this very impressive, very majestic looking thing, and it's fully posable. Like everything, the arms move, these side skirts move, the wings themselves are posable and adjustable, the head, all of it is very very unique and very interesting to me. And like I said, I'm not even a fan of the shows. I'm not a fan of that particular style of animation, but I'm really fascinated by these. And it's just a great way for me to sometimes come home after work, have a drink, and just sit down and just focus on that particular thing for a while. And then when I'm done with that session, I feel like I've accomplished something. I've actually created something, and it gives me a little bit of boost of morale to get back at life with the expectation that I'll be able to come back to this when I need a moment of peace and quiet and tranquility. So until next time, I'm QuestWise. As always, my friends, stay safe and game on.